Good morning. Welcome here to the payoff pitch. And I do apologize for the delay. We're having issues with our modem, and they tell you to switch the damn thing out and they give you a piece of crap. But good morning. I've been fighting this damn thing for well over a week, and it's gotten worse. I've probably had to reset this thing over the last 24 hours at least a dozen times. So that tells you where we're at right now. But we're up and live. We're going. We hope it stays. We were able to get through the first show this morning, our fantasy baseball show. And just as I said something about it, I jinxed it and the damn thing crashed. So we'll see what happens here. Joey Ariola, how the hell are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Baseball is back in full swing, as we know, and both teams are kind of going opposite directions here with the Cubs and the Sox. But Sox took a tough one last night against Houston, and the Cubs barely beat the Diamondbacks. So I got a lot to talk about. Good morning.
They're back, baby. They're back.
The Diamondbacks.
Christian, how the hell are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Mac. Happy to be back for another great episode. Wish I had more to celebrate after that tough loss yesterday, but that's all right.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I watched a decent amount of that game when my internet wasn't going out. It was asinine. But basically, you got to turn the page and get ready for today. They're going to send Rizzo to the mound, and Chicago's got Giolito, correct?
Yes, sir.
What are you expecting out of Giolito today?
Oh, well, expectations for him have kind of been all over the place this season, but I would really like to see him.
That's not what I want to hear, man. I got him in like 3 fantasy leagues.
I know you're telling me. You're telling me, all right. It hurts every time he goes up to the mound and he gives you 5 innings with four earned runs. You know, that's what you hate to see right there. But
yeah,
maybe Jake Odorizzi can just be that much worse than Giolito today, and we can squeeze one out. I don't know.
Here's the funny thing: everyone's focused on Garrett Cole. No one's paid attention to Giolito and the spider tack thing. I'm starting to think this might have a thing with him. He has been just absolutely awful. But he gets to look. If you're gonna do it and you're gonna turn it around, there's no bigger stage than against the Astros. That right now, I think they're the odds-on favorite to get to the World Series right now. If you look at the teams from top to bottom, your 3 major players are obviously your division leaders in the American League: Boston, Chicago, and Houston. And I think top to bottom, Houston's got the best team right now, but the White Sox have the ability to be the best team. Boston's just playing really well, and they got an incredible offense. They are getting Sale back, and we'll see if they make. I think they will make a move. I really do. Boston's not going to sit around and let a season like this go to waste. But you've got Eloy Jimenez, and what's going on with Roberts?
Well, Robert is doing some light baseball activities out in Arizona, but word on the street is that he likely won't begin a rehab assignment until the end of this month, if not beginning of August sometime. And from that point on, I was reading something along the lines of like a 15 to 20 day timeline for him to get up to speed with baseball activities. Okay. And then from there, we need him back in that lineup as soon as possible.
Now, what about Eloy? When are we expecting him back?
The belief is that he will be back in time for the end of the month series, which is against. Digress here 1 second. They play Cleveland at the end of the month, and I'm really hoping that he will be back before that series. If not, they play Kansas City for a 4-game series in Kansas City. That'd probably be a good series to get him some break-in time before they play their division rivals in Cleveland. But I imagine him coming back that last week of the month.
So you're basically getting 2 big trade acquisitions at the end of the month. Again, it's to a team that's already playing really well. With that being said, do you think they're going to make any major moves, or are the White Sox liking what they've got right now and they'll take their chances?
A part of me believes that they will make a trade. A part of me doesn't believe. They made a couple of roster transactions, calling up Reynaldo Lopez and Aaron Bummer off the IL. To me, I'm not sure if that's them hoping that they can find some relief, quote unquote, from their minor leagues and their IL positions. But a part of me also believes that this could be them kind of just putting on a show for other teams as trade bait. You know, if Reynaldo Lopez can pitch a couple good innings, maybe we can deal him to another team in a package with a Gavin Sheets or something along those lines. But as it stands, I think Rick Hahn and Jerry Reinsdorf are going to bite the bullet and just see what they've got before they really come down to the trade deadline and are forced to make a move.
All right. So when do you expect Jock Peterson back?
Oh, that's a song.
Mr.
Hey.
Joey.
Honestly, when this news broke a few days ago, I was thinking, because we were talking Cubs in Atlanta and how on Thursday's morning show, how, we're at the point where we don't see, a lot of winning in sight in the future. The Braves are banged up, under 500. The Cubs are under 500, not living up to expectations on both sides. And here we go. We swap with each other, Jock Peterson for Bryce Ball. Now I see why, as a Braves personnel, I'm not saying this is the move where it says, okay, fans, like we're in it to win it, but at least it shows signs that they're not giving up on this season. And Bryce Ball, reports go back and forth on him. Matt could probably attest to him a lot better than I can. I see some good things on how he could potentially be the future, maybe at first base, but then, he's 23 years old and not really producing all the time. So I do like that we got a prospect back for a rental player on my eyes. He barely sniffed the Cubs uniform. So I like that part about it. But I just don't know how Bryce Ball will be. Obviously, if the Braves traded him, he's not someone who they think could be a great part of their feature. Correct, Mac?
Well, you got to realize one thing that came out of this that was kind of like signaling to Braves fans is if they're letting Bryce Ball go, that means they're planning on locking up Freddie Freeman, who's a free agent at the end of this year. And Freddie still says that they continue to talk. I would hope that the Braves don't let it get all the way to free agency, but I don't know what the hell is going on with it. But it makes me feel like that Freddie is going to be the first baseman. He's going to be the first baseman. What can you do with the Bryce Ball? Because he's not a guy that can play several positions. He's literally a first baseman, maybe a DH. Like you said, he's had a really bad year in a high A ball. He's 23 years old. But the Cubs might decide to see if they can turn him into some kind of a DH, possibly first base if they end up parting with Rizzo. I don't think it's a bad move by the Cubs because you're taking your chances to basically turn the to turn the tide in Chicago. You're getting rid of a Jock Peterson that no one really has. It's not like he's a big, commodity. So I think getting Bryce Ball was fine. Sorry, there was some kind of feedback. That's why I was muting y'all. I don't know what that was, but honestly,
sounded like a TV maybe in the background or something.
I have no idea. I have nothing in the background because I'm scared to stream anything. Yeah, it was almost like an echo off of the hopefully that fixed it. I'll mute myself real quick. Hopefully that fixes it. But anyways, Bryce Ball, I don't think it's a terrible move is the short of it, because essentially Bryce Ball is going to be a guy that he either sticks or he doesn't stick. But what did you lose? You lost Jock Peterson. I don't think you were planning on building the team around him.
No, and we have a lot bigger fish to fry, obviously, than that. It was just good to get something in return. If it doesn't work, whatever. Like you said, Peterson, is a club option, 2-year deal, $8 million max type of thing. So won't kill us too much. I'm interested to see what does happen next, though, because Mets seem to have a lot of interest in Chris Bryant, Craig Kimbrel, a lot of interest there, and I think there's potentially, after reading into things more, I think the Mets and Cubs can kind of get a nice package together with some of their prospects. I was more in lines of thinking of, maybe we get Batty or Mauricio from them, Matt Allen, JD Davis, minor league names like that they have that they'd be willing to give up for a Bryant, because I think the Mets see it as, okay, you know, I don't know how many times we're going to be good. We're in a division where we're obviously taking advantage, and let's just try and gain as many pieces. So I would not be surprised if Craig Kimbrel and Chris Bryant, a couple of those names, Zach Davies will be the next few to go.
I got a feeling that Chris Bryant's headed to the Mets. There's been too many links to it.
It's too many.
And look, the Mets are going to make a move, and they need offense in a big way. That's the one thing that's holding the Mets back. The Mets have a solid bullpen, not great. I think they do want to add something, but they really want to add some kind of an offensive pop. And the great thing about Bryant, you can put him at third, you can put him at outfield, wherever you need to put him. And he's obviously got the playoff pedigree. And it also adds to the fact that they're not likely to trade him in division. So I think Chris Bryant definitely gets moved. Rizzo, I'm not sure about, and Baez is a huge
a report from John Heyman yesterday, and this was just about literally 24 hours ago. He said, while Chris Bryant, Craig Kimbrel, and other Cubs are on the block, there are signs that Cubs will try to lock up Javier Baez and Anthony Rizzo before talking trades. So it seems like it seems more of a retool than a rebuild. We've been questioning this for months now, and I don't know if these reports are right. They could end up trading everyone still. But the latest from John Heyman as of 24 hours ago is it seems like they don't think they will get Bryant back because of how much money he could possibly covet. But guys that could be a little cheaper, especially Anthony Rizzo, maybe they'll try and work on a 3 or 4 year deal. I'm not talking about your 5, 6, 7 with Baez or Rizzo, but that 3 to 4 range where they get their money.
How old is Rizzo? Ballpark?
Young 30s. I want to say, I'll get it correct exactly in a minute, but I would want to say, yep, he is. Come on.
I think the idea
31 years old, 31.
I think
and his birthday's August 8th.
Right. So for all intents and purposes, he's 32.
Go ahead, Christian. Sorry.
I don't think he can expect longer than a 4-year deal. What were you gonna say, Christian?
I was just going to say, as far as the Cubs fan perspective goes, I think it's pretty realistic that they keep Rizzo. But I don't know how you feel about keeping Baez. I mean, Baez, yeah, he's been a great stud for them, but Rizzo's got the whole Chicago hometown vibe. He's been here like a Abreu for through and thick and thin. But Baez, I mean, if you could get rid of him,
most strikeouts in baseball.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you could get rid of him and maybe get something in return. I mean, yeah, we know he's got a high ceiling, but the floor is also relatively low, I would say, with Baez when he's not playing up to par.
Well, and let's be honest on this too. We talk about, how young and he can still do it. He is 28 years old. And by the time next season starts, 29. So I know he's still young. I mean, I'm 28, 29. I'd like to consider that still a little bit young. But I mean, a Tiger don't change its stripes too often once you get to this age in the MLB. And how many times can we say, okay, he brings the flashy stuff, but can't do the little things right? It gets irritating.
I'll tell you what, from the opposite end of the spectrum, there's tons of White Sox fans who'd like to believe they can trade for anybody and everybody on the Cubs, including Bryant, Baez, and anybody in between. But for me, I don't want to
take Kimbrel.
I would love to have Kimbrel. That'd probably be the only piece. I mean, Bryant would be great, but it's like, where do you put him? Our outfield will be pretty thick once everybody comes back from the injured list. And then, I mean, Baez, I think we could find a more reliable second baseman than him, but that's up in the air, I suppose.
I bet Baez is kicking himself in the ass. I bet that, because he turned down $180 million deal just before the 2020 season.
That's crazy.
Betting on himself, and he lost. Now, the best case scenario that could happen to Baez is he gets traded to a team with money and they win the World Series and Correct. They deem him important. But I'm looking at the teams outside the White Sox. Because I mean, you're only going to pay him because you wanted to play short, right? He's not starting over Tim Anderson. You go to the Red Sox, who have a good chance of winning the World Series. Xander Bogaerts, I mean, get the hell out of here. By the way, Xander Bogaerts signed a 6-year, $160 million $160 million deal at that same time period.
Wow.
So they were ready to offer him more money than Xander Bogaerts got. Woof. And I bet Xander Bogaerts kicking himself in the rear.
I was going to say, because I think he deserves a lot more now. Not a lot, but a decent amount, right?
I'd give him $300 million before I ever gave Bryce Harper $300 million. I know that much. That was a waste of freaking. And everyone's like, "Oh, he's such a nice guy. Quit picking on Bryce Harper." First of all, he's a douche. Second of all, he's the most overrated player that's ever played in the game. And look, good for him. Smart for him. He marketed himself right, and they were dumb enough to pay it. But I'm looking at dollar for dollar, man. Xander Bogaerts, 6-year, 160, and I guess Baez, I think it was 6-year, 180 is what it looks like that Buster Olney reported back then. Whew.
And he doesn't have that tan line, Bryce Harper, now. So
I think that's just more of a kudos to Scott Boras and company, but that's neither here nor there, right?
Well, he's just look. Everyone just thought that Bryce Harper won the MVP. It's been 5-6 years now, and they leaned on that. I think Baez should have struck while the iron's hot. Now he's going to be 29 years old going into free agency. Now I think he's going to be lucky to get a deal of a 4 or 5 years for $100 million.
I was going to say he'd be lucky to get half of what the Cubs offered him initially.
Yeah, you're not going to get you. So if you get moved to a team like a contender, Red Sox don't need a shortstop. White Sox don't need a shortstop. Astros don't need a shortstop. And those are the teams with money they can spend, right? You go to the National League, Baez is not going to get his money from the Mets. They just wasted $300 million on Lindor. Oof, that was a terrible one. And then Atlanta will never pay anyone that kind of money. Forget about it. The Phillies can't bring in 300, a big time guy at shortstop because they got to pay freaking Bryce Harper. So the only team you could think of, the
Dodgers,
the Padres certainly don't need him.
The Padres don't need him. And then the other team you think about, well, they just won the World Series recently. They could use a shortstop, but Washington's not going to get rid of freaking Trey Turner. So you got to back the check up for Trey Turner. I mean, you could possibly move Trey Turner to the outfield because he's played that quite a bit. But dude, you're not. I think that Mr. Baez is going to be on the outside looking in for a major contract.
But I know he's hurt and he's coming back. But what about the Dodgers? Maybe plug in at second base for a little bit.
Maybe for this stretch run, but I'm talking about.
I know you're talking about the future.
He shot himself in the foot because now he's going to be out there on the market. I don't think the Cubs are going to pay it. If the Cubs bring him back, they're going to say, "Well, now you're on our terms. Now that $180 million, that's no longer on the table." And so that could be turned into a pissing contest. And then you get the Dodgers. I mean, they've got Corey Seager.
Right.
So they don't, when that kid's healthy, he should be coming back in the next few weeks. That kid's healthy. He's miles above Baez as far as a hitter.
No doubt. And as Mac, as you're attentioning to with the future, these guys bet on themselves. And unfortunately, they lost. I mean, from Baez to even I won't say
Giants who are going to spend money this offseason. I think they're more likely to lock up
Brandon Crawford.
Yeah, Crawford, because he's having a career type year.
Man, in fantasy, I picked him up like 20 games in, and what a beast he hit like 8 homers in 1 week at one point.
I've doubted him every step along the way because his entire career he hasn't been a hitter. He has never been here. That's always been his one downside. He's one of the best defensive shortstops we've ever seen that no one ever sees because he plays at 2:00 in the morning, right? But defensively, I've always been in awe of him. But he was always a guy that just pulled everything. Now he's hitting it to all sides of the field, and kudos to him. That is one take in 2021 that I will say I was dead wrong. Is I thought that Brandon Crawford had gotten hot and eventually he was going to hit some kind of plateau. At the same token, I wouldn't load up the truck to pay Crawford. But I think they're more likely to do that than they would be to bring in Baez to play second and give him money. I don't know where he's going to get his money from if it's not the Cubs.
So the market is pretty saturated for middle infielders right now too. So it's like if you're Baez looking ahead,
Maybe
you got to be
Cardinals.
you got to be pretty concerned about your future.
And you ain't getting younger as you hit that 30 mark. I mean, none of these guys are the young 20 stallions anymore. Not one of them.
And they all think that they're going to get, you know, that $300 million deal. And it's just, man, it's nonsense. There's only a couple of guys out there who are going to get those. And there's even less that actually deserve them. But like Manny Machado was smart. Give me my 300 million, right? Screw it. What did they end up giving Tatis? It was like is 338 the mark? Is that what they ended up with him? So you know they're gonna spend, but you gotta be able to do it within reason. You got $600 million locked up on the left side of your infield.
Yeah, Tatis will make 24 million over the next 4 years.
Tatis? What was the deal that he signed? It was a huge deal.
Right. 14-year, 340 million.
Yeah. So
But I'm saying over the next 4 years. Sorry, I was saying.
I mean, I get that, and they could probably spend a little, but you can't lock yourself up because of
no.
That's going to come due.
Right.
And then you got the Machado, and then you know you think of some of the other guys that they're going to want to re-sign. Baez would not be on their list of concerns. You got to lock up Darvish at some point. You might be able to trick Ian Snell into a club-friendly deal because he's been pitching like crap, though I think he's a pretty good pitcher, right? But he seems like the kind of chucklehead that'll bet on himself and lose. But man, I think Baez is going to be in for a rude awakening when he has to take a much smaller deal to stay with the Cubs, because I don't really see the Cardinals going for him. That's not really the Cardinal way, so to speak, to load up the truck and just because they've got Arenado they've got to deal with.
Goldschmidt.
Eventually, the bill's going to come due for Jack Flaherty. So, and we all know, as much as they'd like to have him, the Milwaukee Brewers do not spend money.
No.
And he's not getting that money from freaking Tampa Bay Rays. So that's pretty much named the teams that would be willing. Maybe he lands on the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh man!
I was just gonna say, you know, a crappy team that just wants somebody to get fans in the seats. Camden Yards, just let Baez do whatever the hell he wants, where he can just
get out from under that Chris Davis contract.
Oh God, probably never.
I'll pull that up real quick because I'm curious about his contract when they can finally get out from under that nonsense. I mean, that was ridiculous. How slow, or I'm sorry, how quickly he. Well, for some reason, here we go. Oh God, they've got another year of him. 17 million.
Man, that's sad. That just and you know, another thing that's funny about all this is we obviously he sent them over the luxury tax. I don't mean to cut you off. Holy no, you're
crap.
fine.
How the hell are the Baltimore Orioles over the luxury tax? They're terrible.
Like they didn't even pay. Mancini didn't even get his payday yet.
Albert Bell or something. Like, what the hell's going on here?
Well, and they didn't even pay Mancini yet.
What is going on here? How are they over the luxury tax? I can't name 5 guys on the Baltimore Oriole roster, and they're over the luxury tax.
That's sad.
The luxury tax hit salary was 23 million, so it cost him 23 million to pay Chris Davis his 17 million. And he has one more year of this. And in 2023, at the age of 37, he'll be an unrestricted free agent / you'll never hear from him again.
Yeah.
Wow, did they step into it, man? They stepped in the mess kit when they did that.
Poor Orioles.
Another team we didn't mention that would have zero interest in Baez is Toronto as well. You know, Toronto looking to be buyers. Their middle infield is stacked. You know, there's no reason why they would need somebody like him.
Javi Baez might find himself in a pretty crappy situation somewhere. Is not that's why to me, if I'm him, even if it's a little less, maybe be a Cub. The fans do adore him, and at the same time, I feel like if you could get something in line, don't go crazy, but if you could get 3 years where he could just get a lot of guaranteed money, maybe he won't care about the years, and then he can bet on himself again later on down the road. But like we've been talking about, a lot of teams, few and far between, that would give him the big payday he might look for.
So what I'm looking at, by the way, to get back to the Orioles real quick, I know this isn't the Baltimore Orioles show, but their team payroll is only $58 million. So when that rolls over and hits the 23 on the luxury tax, that must carry over from year to year, which I was unaware of. So they are, I mean, that is wow. I guess maybe when they signed the contract for him, it was going to continue to carry over. But I'm looking at their payroll is only $58 million, the third lowest in all of baseball. At least that makes a little more sense. I thought I was like, what?
No point in going to Camden Yards in the next couple of years.
I forget what the cutoff is nowadays. I want to say it's 175 million, and then you get charged the tax. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, somewhere in that neighborhood. And if that's the case, there are 7 teams that are over the luxury tax. Chicago White Sox, by the way, are only sitting at 134 for their payroll.
Well,
spend it, baby, spend it.
And you know, it's crazy. We talk about these trades, and we have 2 of our teams sitting right here. And a guy comes up to me yesterday at work and goes, "You sure you want to make a trade with the Sox after that Quintana one?" I go, "Hey, you beat us there. You beat us there, but you don't got Tatis either." So the fun talk is already starting up. I could see maybe them making a trade, but if I'm the Cubs, I try to stay away from trading to the White Sox after we made that abysmal Quintana trade.
Well, I want to make look, if I'm the Cubs, where I'm sitting right now, I want the best players available, and I don't really give a crap if they're, because first of all, it's not like they're even in our division, right? If you're a Cubs fan or the Cubs general manager, I get it that they're in the same city, so the rivalry's there. But with all that being said, dude, other than like trading to the Cardinals or the Brewers, I think you trade to whoever the hell gives you the best players.
Oh, I mean, I agree fully. You never want to, you know, take that out of the mindset. It just sucks that I could potentially hear about Eloy and Cease for the next 5 years of them being great ball players. But hey, if we make a trade and we get the young guys this time, maybe I could turn it around on Christian and the White Sox.
I was gonna say it could be your chance to fleece us for the future, you know. But nobody knows how that's gonna work out till, you know, after it's all said and done.
No big deal. You guys could have had Tatis. No big deal.
Yeah, I think about that sometimes too, but
I'm kidding. I got to give crap. My team's under 500 and we're playing the Diamondbacks. I need some love.
And I think one of the things that you have to look at too is who has stuff to give up, right?
And that's why I think the Mets are so good.
Yeah, the Mets are ranked top 10 in their minor league system. I'm pulling up a complete deal here. God, this is a long man. I shouldn't have clicked on this sucker. This is a long ass freaking wow. You hope to get a snippet, and then this guy's breaking down like he has a novel for every team on why. It just took me 17 scrolls down to get past one player. But anyways,
it's also the worst. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say Tampa has the #1 ranked system right now, right? But whoever they trade, they're not planning on re-signing. So that's why they continue to be ranked so high, because they don't ever move players. Toronto's interesting. Toronto's ranked #3, and Toronto's in that hunt. If Toronto gets hot, Seattle. It won't be the Braves, because the Braves are going to just freaking screw the pooch.
Toronto could use someone like a Kyle Hendricks, I feel like.
The Giants, if the Giants start to get aggressive, they're ranked #6 overall.
Okay.
That's saying something. Now, I don't think you're going to get like Joey Bart back or anything like that, but you could get some decent pieces. But I'm trying to find the White Sox. Where are they ranked in the rankings? They must be farther down. So
probably not that high anymore after calling up so many of their prospects.
Right. We'll get certain guys still keep the prospect eligibility on these lists. Okay, here we go. They're 16th overall. And so like guys like Michael Kepik are still considered a prospect. Andrew Vaughn is still considered a prospect. So depending on your definition of prospect, but I don't think you're going to move any of these guys. Do you?
It would be a cold chance in hell that they've moved either Andrew Vaughn or Michael Kopech. In fact, one trade rumor that I kept hearing yesterday was Joey Gallo for Michael Kopech and some other minor league prospects. That's just ludicrous if you ask me, because Joey Gallo, he could hit 25, 30 bombs for you in a season, but I'm not giving up a potential starting ace,
Well, you're also so loaded. Once everyone comes back, you're so loaded at outfield. Why would you want to bring in an outfielder, right?
Exactly.
I know Gallo has played some first base, but to give up Michael Kepik, oof. I think it's more realistic that they give up Andrew Vaughn and they say, okay, you can have the young guy. We'll take the veteran. He still has one more year of control too. That one I would see happening.
Andrew Vaughn, it would be a tough one to see him go, but if it brought us somebody worthwhile.
Joey Gallo can thump too, man. I'm telling you right now, that guy's, when he finally gets out of Texas and gets to a contender, it's going to get ugly.
I've seen reports of him to the Yankees as well in the last 24 hours. Use that short porch.
That just makes sense.
You haven't seen it in the last 12 hours because after they got beaten by the Red Sox again, I don't think they scored last night. I mean, whoa. We were talking about this on the early show, and it's essentially you can put a fork in the Yankees if they don't win the next 3 games against Boston this weekend, because they had 8 games that they were going to play the Boston Red Sox over the next week and a half. I contend they needed to win 6 of those to be in it, because they went into this 8 games back. If you only win 5, you get yourself 6 games behind, right? If you win 4, you haven't made any ground up. Oh, and by the way, in the middle of this, they're going to play the Tampa Bay Rays, who have their number. I think the Yankees are going to be selling. I don't know what they're going to sell, but they're going to be selling.
They should.
That's anything you read that about homeboy going to the Yankees. That was some Yankee fan who thinks the Yankees are always going to find a way to make it in the playoffs and win the World Series because, he was born in the 1950s and, he's all he's ever known is, oh man, Yankees good, everyone else bad. That's just simple. They're not a good baseball team.
Not at all.
I was watching the game with Timus last night, and he's a big Red Sox fan. We were going on and on, and finally I told him, I said, dude, I don't talk about this much on the shows because I hate to be that Debbie Downer to Yankee fans. Like, you watch it, they're not a good baseball team. They need, and why do they have so many right-handed bats in a stadium that's built for a left-hander?
I'm sick of and Stanton, it's like it's the same old story with him. Play some games, not play them, hit some homer. It's sad to see that.
Luke Voigt's back on the IL.
Right. They can't even stay healthy.
That dude is made of freaking candy cane, man. I mean, dude is always hurt. I think they're doing roids or something. They're way too brittle. Something's going on there. Judge. Now look, now he's on the COVID list. Okay. But if he's not on the COVID list, he's playing like 3 to 4 games a week. Oh, this is just maintenance. This is Boone's answer and everything. This is just your general maintenance. For what?
Garrett Cole isn't even Garrett Cole right now. So it's all interesting.
If I'm Brian Cashman, I'd break the whole damn thing up. Because you're going to have the money to rebuild because you're the Yankees, right?
Absolutely.
So I would break the whole damn thing up. Bring in Joey Gallo, and I'm going to give you Aaron Judge or whatever. I got to get some lefties in this lineup. And it's not to win this year. It's to get ready for next year. Because you're stuck with Stanton. That dude, $325 million.
Yeah, nobody's going to bite the bullet on that contract.
No. Texas might bite if you send Aaron Judge for Gallo. I think they would bite on that because Texas is the type of team has the ability to pay people, and they've got that brand new stadium, and Aaron Judge will bring people to the ballpark. But you're going to have to play him. But the beauty about moving him to another team, Aaron Judge can now be what he needs to be, which is a damn DH, because he can't play the field. Every time he plays the field, his knee starts barking at him.
Him and Eloy Jimenez definitely have a lot in common. That's for damn sure.
You can't have 2 DHs, and that's what they have in hell. If you think about Luke Voigt, they got 3 DHs. They got 3 guys who can't play the field. If they do, they get injured, and Boone's going, I don't know whose turn is it to play today, because I can't put you all 3 out there. It's ridiculous. What else do we have on the docket before we run out of here?
Not much. The Cubs did win last night. I guess that's far and few between. Wisdom hit another. Man, Wisdom is one player, you know, it's kind of one of the, I don't know if it's just a flash in the pan because he's older or what, but, you know, he doesn't play every day, but when he plays, he produces. So if I say anything about positive about the Cubs today, they got a nice victory. Hendricks looks solid. For all those people who want starting pitching, Hendricks looks solid. And I'm sure he's cost control because we haven't had him on a big payday. I mean, why keep, I mean, if from my eyes, I was trying to clean house, and if you clean house, I would get as many prospects available. But if they're doing a retool, they probably won't because he's cost effective. But I thought they were going to blow this whole thing up, which I'm not sure how that's going to go anymore, because like I said, they kind of want to look like to lock up a couple of these guys, but I would trade him if we were trying to clean house. Why not?
To me, it only makes sense to just blow it all up and start from scratch. I mean, the whole retool, how often does that actually work for teams, especially when you came out and you said that you had no intentions to re-sign any of these guys, and then you flip the script and now there's reports that you're trying to keep Rizzo and Baez. It's like, where's the line in the sand? You know, either commit to it or don't commit to the rebuild. So I don't know.
Seems like they are just as confused as we are.
Yeah, it's not more, right?
Trying to see what he has left on his contract. So he just, that's what I thought. He just signed a contract. He still has, after this year, he's Hendricks is under contract till 2024.
Could get some good prospects probably.
I mean, you could, because he's very affordable. He's only 14 a year.
And like you said, if we do a retool, it'd probably be dumb to trade him, because then obviously you still got a strong number 2 starter in your staff. But if you really do want to fill that farm system back up, to me, you would trade him.
Man, that would be that. Ooh, are the fans going to still come out?
I don't know. They
get rid of Rizzo. You get rid of Bryant, Baez, and then Hendricks. What are you going out there to watch? Patrick Wisdom? Go out there. You get loaded and watch the Patrick Wisdom show.
It'd give me bad flashbacks of 2010, 11, and 12 again, when we had guys like Brian LaHair batting 3rd and 4th in our lineup.
They got to move Kimbrel too. Get him off the books.
Get him off. Plenty of teams want that. White Sox would love it. Braves would love it.
Just got traded to the Atlanta Braves in my MLB The Show.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. I had to give up a good little prize. I had Michael Brantley. That's a whole thing. But anyway, nobody cares about my MLB The Show team. But I had Michael Brantley, and I went and got Kimbrel. It's just really cool seeing him back in Atlanta uniform hanging that arm, man.
Hey, that's where he did that's where it all started with the fun. So I would love to see that. It's always fun in a video game when you get that guy back.
They should do it just to get butts in the seats. Who gives a damn about if they're going to actually make the playoffs this year? You can still control them through next year, right? They should do it just to go get butts in the seats. Because when Kimbrel would come out, what used to happen is that the scoreboard that surrounds the entire stadium that goes around in a loop, when he would come out of the bullpen, fire would be all around the scoreboard. So you would see this flame essentially, and they would start flashing the lights, and here would come Kimbrel. And I mean, people would just get jacked.
That's electric stuff. Why not?
Now Will Smith comes out of the bullpen, and everyone's like, "Oh Christ, here we go." I'm gonna go get a beer. Anyone want anything? I'll meet you in the parking lot. Let me know if he actually gets through this inning.
Give me the Men in Black, Will Smith.
I'll tell you, from a marketing standpoint, I would go out and get Kimbrel just for for that. Who gives a damn about the other crap? Give them Kyle Wright. Give them someone that they think that they can turn into a starter. Go get Kimbrel and call it a day. What is your walk-off of the day, Mr. Christian?
Oh, I need to see a strong outing today from Giolito. I'm looking at Jake Odorizzi's stat line right now, and boy, oh boy, it looks like a very much so winnable game for the White Sox.
Ooh, I hope so. Joey, what say you?
You know, if you guys aren't tuning in at 3:10 for the Chicago Cubs and Arizona Diamondbacks, you got a lot of issues. This is a battle of two. This is must-see TV. Two premier teams headed for a World Series run. You watch this today at 3:10, ladies and gentlemen. You do not want to miss it. There were more people in my apartment complex than the Diamondback Stadium yesterday.
That thing's gonna be rocking like what's the name of that thing that you went down to Tampa to watch?
Oh, WrestleMania.
Yeah, WrestleMania. Be rocking and rolling in that stadium, baby.
Let's start a fight. Let's get this game on ESPN highlights.
That game's in Arizona, right?
Correct.
So 4:00 Eastern, Arizona. I don't know. I can't ever keep Arizona in their mountains time zone goofy thing straight. It's either 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon out there, right?
Yeah.
Who the hell is going to that? Why did they make that a night game? What the hell is going on?
They sadly probably thought the Cubs were going to. I don't know what they thought.
That was a really dumb statement. They got
NBA.
a baseball game over with because they're all going to the NBA game tonight. Okay. That was
yeah.
really dumb. I was like, why are they playing so early? Because normally Arizona, if they're at home, they play like 7, 8 o'clock Eastern on Saturdays. But okay, yeah.
They wouldn't want to let Alzoy versus Gallen go up against NBA Finals. What a bunch of morons.
I don't know how close the baseball stadium is to the basketball stadium, but they probably don't want the traffic issue.
True.
The 17 people that are going to go to the baseball game.
And 15 of them will be Cubs fans.
They'll be shaking their fists at the heavens like, this is ridiculous. I can't get out. Arizona fans are like, I can never get out of this stadium. It's terrible. I'm always stuck in the parking lot. Oh, God. Speaking of teams that need to do a full rebuild, holy crap. My walk-off for the day is that Game 5. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope I have internet. And if not, I'll find some way to stream it somehow. But yeah, that Game 5 should be a lot of fun. As by the time we talk this time next week, I believe it'll all be over with, right? Yeah. It's tonight, Tuesday, and Thursday.
Yep.
Right. That's right. So after that, it'll all be about the best part of the NBA season is its postseason. I mean, sorry, after the season ends, not postseason, not plus. Best part about the NBA is the off season.
See where everyone goes. It will be interesting. Fear the deer, though. Fear the deer.
Yeah, oh man, this is exciting. Can't wait. All right. And then by the time the season rolls around again, I'm not watching this crap. That's the way it is. I expect my man Brad Stevens to do something big.
I think so.
The Celtics. All right. Great job, guys. We will see you next week. And y'all have a great day. Take yourself out to the ball game today.